want just one time.
So give me, let me bounce by you now. Straight from the bar to the kitchen counter. I wanna turn off the lights. Yeah.
So give me, let me stamp on you now. Bring up the punch with the tequila. Me just love up your vibes. Yeah.
Girl, I see what you need and I hear what you're asking for. You understand that?
Stunting. Hey, shake me like automatic. Pressure me with this stick shift. Ice me up like flat man stick and mix me up like a sweet cake mixer.
Girl, I see what you need and I hear what you're asking for.
17 minutes away from your 8 o'clock hour here on a Friday morning, and we certainly got to get into the interaction as we normally do every Monday to Friday, giving you the opportunity, the option to certainly talk about the issues concerning us here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Time for the morning scoop here on a Friday morning. TGIF, that's all I'm saying. TGIF, nothing else. Morning, how you going? No, hold on. Let me try that again. Morning, how you going?
Me good. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. It's a beautiful Friday morning. Those of you who already signed on the live, Isil, Narissa, Kojo, good day. Good morning to you as well. Those who haven't signed on as yet, but you're signing on, good day. Those who are on their tune, whatever the device, and those who are on radio, wherever you are, good day to you. It's a beautiful Friday morning here in St. Vincent Grenadines. Then these days, just be hot, boy.
Mother walk humid. The heat with the humidity is just
I don't know if the humidity that is that bad enough, but it's just hot. It's just hot. Like I was in Florida recently. That's humid. You're sitting down in a cool shade and so on, and it's just a stinging. You could hardly breathe. But hey, once you're in a shade, it ain't too bad. But when you go out in the sun, yo, craziness, by. Let me just say this a little bit aside. I was informed of the passing. I saw it on Facebook of Sylvia Anderson, aka Sassy.
Yeah.
Such a bubbly, joyful person.
Yes.
I got familiar with her voice on radio, and I met her personally. Very talented lady. As a matter of fact, I actually bought a scrap mat. I hadn't seen one in a very long time, and I was in the market where she had her shop. And I saw it, and I'm like, you make scrap mats? And she said, yes. And she actually made me a nice scrap mat with my initials on it. So at least I have something in my house to remind me of Sassy for a very long time. But she has passed, and so for her friends and family, condolences on my behalf on the passing of a wonderful human being. All right? I just had to say that. All right. I said she's not feeling too well these days. I shall check it out there with the outing I go with people and so on, and ting. Go check your doctor and sort yourself out because as old people say, right? So sort yourself out, go to your doctor, make sure that it ain't nothing too serious, all right? Because people things just happening and people just disappearing, you understand? And so yeah, I would advise you to organize yourself, all right? Yeah, so Denny. PM was part of a conversation last night in Barbados. One conversation, three legends. You had the former president, head of state of Nigeria there. You had the former prime minister of Jamaica there. And you had, of course, our own Prime Minister, Dr. Gonzalez there. And it was quite an enlightening discussion, roundtable discussion that they had. Many of the things. If you're following Dr. Gonzalez, then you heard a lot of the themes that he has been addressing in a very consistent manner over the last number of years. So you heard him again addressing some of those key issues. But it was good to hear the insight from an African perspective, as well as PJ former Minister Patterson's perspective. The thing is, at a point, they take the song cut out, and it was unfortunate. Seems they were having some technical difficulties last night, but no doubt those in the auditorium enjoyed what was offered to them the insights from three very experienced, very knowledgeable leaders on the whole issue of reparations, and the responsibility that for some reason the colonial powers seem unwilling to accept. And yesterday we started a discussion about what's happening in Niger, and what has happened in Burkina Faso, and I think I can't remember the other, I think it's Cote d'Ivoire. No, Mali.
Right, right.
And where these countries have gone to military rule and seem to have the backing of the ordinary people, and that military rule transition appears to be occurring as a sign of protest to France, their former colonial master. You know, I'm learning that Niger is a significant supplier of uranium to France that France needs for its energy. 1/3 of homes in France, 1/3 of energy in France is produced through uranium supplied by Niger. It seems that France just continues to go and take it because Niger remains one of the poorest countries in the world. So how could a G7 economy, big rich France, be buying that level of uranium from Niger, but Niger is still poor? And according to reports, close to 80% of the Niger population don't have electricity.
Don't have electricity.
These occurrences seem to be suggesting that these former French colonies are saying, listen, you've been thieving us for decades and possibly centuries. The thieving had to stop. You ripped us and raped us. You know, a journalist who clearly didn't know she plays was interviewing Mia Motley, and she asked Mia Motley a question. Mia Motley said, you really want me to answer that? You sure want me to answer that? She says, when the Industrial Revolution was financed by our blood, sweat, and tears, you thief things from the Caribbean. You committed more than genocide against slaves, overworked them, rape the region to send money to finance the Industrial Revolution. And then the Industrial Revolution turns around and causes the climate crisis, which disproportionately affects us here in the Caribbean and small islands. And now, y'all are coming to tell us, oh, we need to do this and we need to do that and we need to do whatever. Give it back with your thief. And all of them. I listen to people like Piers Morgan try to talk about the fact that, oh, but we didn't do slavery, but you are inheritors of our labor. Europe was built on slavery, free labor, and the exploitation of economies in Africa and the Caribbean. And today, what you enjoy as metropoles, as cities and so forth, were financed off of our backs. It's as simple as that. So don't come tell me that 4 generations ago, somebody thieved my great-great-great-great-grandfather land. And that land was developed and come down in generations and come down. And you will tell me, but I didn't thief the land. No, you didn't thief the land. You didn't thief the land. But all of your wealth and your prosperity comes from the land where great-great-great-great-grandfather thief. And I'm using the language that we know. Thief. Because the truth is, our wealth was stolen. Our wealth, our resources were stolen. And our people were taken advantage of. Massive crime against humanity, slavery, perpetrated by Britain and France and Portugal and Spain and the US. And so the discussion of reparations, P.J. Patterson said, former Prime Minister of Jamaica, said something interesting last night. He said, Mia, as the chair CARICOM, we need to now look at getting a qualified panel to give us a legal opinion that we could take. Because we're talking about suing now, you know. Yeah. Since all them taking things to this court and that court, maybe it's time that CARICOM takes the EU, specifically Britain, France, Spain, Portugal, and whoever else had colonies, to international courts to get reparations. Because unless they are forced to do so, they will continue to skip responsibility. And that's why I respect what Mali, Burkina Faso, and now Niger are doing in taking ownership of their resources. And watch me. I don't follow African politics now. But that man named Julius Malema, was a member of the ANC. They kick him out. 10 years ago, he formed the own party. EFF. The Economic Freedom Fighters or something like that. Name. If Malema ever becomes the president of South Africa, and he had a rally recently to celebrate 10 years, if you see a rally, if you see a crowd, if Julius Malema ever becomes the president of South Africa change. Trust me. Because he's openly against the US. He's openly for Putin and Russia. I mean, the guy means in the words. As a matter of fact, when they were threatening to arrest Putin if Putin go to South Africa for the BRICS conference, Julius said, they can't touch Putin. Let Putin come. We will guard Putin. He believes that his country plays as a puppet for the US, and he's very much against that. He believes in things like appropriation without compensation. In other words, we taking back the land from the white man that they theft from we, and we ain't compensating them for it because it was not theirs in the first place. Listen, radical youth. But these are all signs, and I started on this note based on what was happening last night in Barbados. These are all signs of the multipolarity of the world, where now it's not just a bipolar system with Russia and the US, or what has become evidently a unipolar system with just the US, but now multi, because you have China, you have India, you have Russia, you have the US. Everybody are sorting themselves, standing up and saying, but you can't tell me what to do. And now people are talking back to the US. It's amazing, you know, Denny. People are now talking back to the US country saying, listen, when you talk about crimes of humanity, what about your crimes against Iraq and Afghanistan? And so, people are talking back. You have Mussolini saying, listen, keep your aid, keep your thing about getting married. You keep that. You keep that. Because I think more and more countries are recognizing the hypocrisy that exists within the international system, where some countries get away with everything and anything, and others are held to account. So, for example, when we talk about the climate crisis, we are being told that we need to do this and we need to do that, but we didn't cause it. You caused it. And we think that you should take responsibility and repair it. And that is the case of developing countries with many things. Developed countries seem to have to pay the price of their recklessness. When you sit down, because we depend on some aid, because we have large diaspora population in those countries. We sit down and we acquiesce, we free, we ain't say nothing because we don't want to lose the returns. We don't want to lose the visa privilege. We don't want to lose this, we don't want to lose that. And so they get the word bullying their way right through. Which is why CARICOM integration is so important. But I hope so. I'd love to see Malema be president. I would love to see Julius Malema be president of South Africa. Honestly, I'd love to see that. But I'd believe that he will be. I'd love to see that. But CARICOM is so important. Another discussion that's happening is the issue of correspondent banking. And then you know about this thing as a former banker himself. And the way that I read an article recently that spoke to the hypocrisy of the international system, where what they try, the stringent measures they are forcing us to do here, they have not there. They putting me on blacklists when states in the US and countries in the EU are some of the biggest tax havens and tax havens and so forth. Biggest. But those aren't on blacklist, but we are on black and grey list. And because you're on black and grey list, things difficult. Doing business difficult. They're crippling economies, While states in the US, big evaders, big tax havens, money laundering. No money laundering not in the region, Denny. Money laundering is not all the money laundering at the US and Europe. But yet, we have to jump through hoops. You know how difficult it is to open our companies in Vincent Iranians? You know what? And that is why I understand the frustration. Because when Vincentians in the diaspora want to come home, to move back home, they build in the house or whatever, and they want to open an account, they have to do so many things. But in the US, they open their account in half an hour. I do have a social security number. I do have a US passport. I do have a US citizenship. And in half an hour, I was able to open an account in the US using my passport only. To put my daughter's name next to my account in St. Vincent, I had to bring 3 forms of ID.
Three
Forms of ID. I could show you an email on my thing right now, where up to a few weeks ago, the bank was saying I want up to update your thing. You want 3 forms of ID. They were utility bill, job letter, all of that, just to put my daughter's name on my account. And so now they update it every 6 months. I've had my account in the US for more than 6 months. They ain't called me yet to tell me update nothing. And the one piece of ID I have there is enough. One piece of ID I have is enough. You understand how difficult that is to do business in this country? You know how difficult it is to do business in the region with those kind of policies? And that's because the colonial masters still squeezing out every inch of life out of the former colonies. What they couldn't thief and rape and rob and kill, they still trying to squeeze out today. And takes leaders like Dr. Gonzalez and Mia Motley. I haven't heard Deacon yet. But the other leaders, they pussyfoot around the issues. And I think that attitude and that lack of will, that lack of political will for leaders is one of the reasons that we aren't achieving as much as we can. But we have to do it together. St. Vincent alone can't decide I want reparations. It has to be a CARICOM movement. St. Vincent alone can't decide we want to hold the former colonizers foot to the fire when it comes to reparations and so on. It has to be an entire movement. We alone can't decide that, look, climate financing has to be the responsibility of the developed countries whose industrial revolutions created the crisis. It has to be a CARICOM something. And the issue of de-risking having to do with correspondent banking, and I started by talking about correspondent banking, and I didn't explain it very much, but it's what allows us to do transactions outside of St. Vincent and Grenadines. The money you want to wire, that's what promotes business. And you want to send some money down to build your house, you wire the money. If the banks aren't connected, if they're not speaking to each other, if they're not integrated, we can't do that. And the banks, they're deciding, look, Belize was in a horrible situation the other day.
We were in a horrible position 20 plus years ago.
Yeah.
Right? Where the whole matter of correspondent banking was significantly threatened. We were down to one international correspondent bank. One. And had they cut ties with us, that would have been it. But the whole, and you touched it, correspondent banking here in the region is so very much important in terms of the proper delivery of goods and services, right? Because we do not, most of our goods are not produced here. We rely heavily on importing a lot of products into St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And our local merchants, companies, whatever, they need to have that corresponding banking service in place so that they can pay for them. And if we end up in a situation where the banking facility is not available, then there goes your business, poof, up in the air. And when that goes up in the air, it has an immediate effect, quite naturally, on the companies, but very importantly, to the people of the country, to the well-being of the country, to the economic viability of the country. That is what happens. And that is why the whole matter of having reliable corresponding banking is so important to these islands, to these territories in these parts. And I agree with you. There are lots of legislation that's in place, international laws that you have to follow and conform to the whole matter of anti-money laundering. It's important. We're not slighting the fact that you have to certainly pay attention to it. But there's a whole heap of blacklists and all that kind of stuff that, you have to try to avoid and stay in line. Whilst, as you rightly pointed out, Sion, European countries and some states in the US, they don't have to go through the type of things that we go through.
Nope.
To have regular banking, available to them, right? And maybe it's just an effort. It's just an effort on the part of, the world boss, if I can put it like that, to try to minimize or have a pushback on us here in the Caribbean so that we don't realize our true potential. Because St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, St. Lucia, Barbados, you name the territories, there is economic potential. I just always talk the whole thing about, I want to bring the whole matter of marijuana into the mix. All right? They send the helicopters down here to cut down and burn up on all that kind of stuff. Whilst in Texas and other areas and other states in the US, there's a bounty full of marijuana. I mean, they put the legislation in place and say, but there's no marijuana and all that kind of thing there. So, but that's just their way of stifling what we have here in the Caribbean. The whole matter of the bananas, we can go back to that.
Mm-hmm.
There are those who want to say that ULP is responsible for the dying of bananas. We know what happened there. But again, it was an effort on the part of the US. What's the name of the company again?
Keaton Dole. Chiquita and Dole.
Yeah.
Yeah. Danny, well, this is your field because you're talking banking, so I learn you talk because you know you think. You see, to me, Danny, listeners, this is all a part of the power play. If these small islands and many others, because they're about 30 something SIDS across the world, because you have to look at SIDS in the Caribbean, you have to look at SIDS in the Pacific, Africa SIDS and so forth. So there are plenty small islands across the world and other developing countries. If you can put all of these control mechanisms in place, it becomes easy for you to control these states.
Simple.
Get them to vote how you want them to do. So we are going to do so and so and so with you. Why are you not voting on the Ukraine resolution that you bring? Because we do agree with it. Well, we have to consider your visa regime. What? A lot of these blacklists and so on that we're on aren't because of any type of malpractices in our states. It's to kind of whip these little outer islands in line, these countries in line. So you have all of these things all over the place to make sure that you're kept in line. Kept in line. So you can't veer off because that blacklist coming for you. That blacklist coming for you. Watch that visa thing there. Kept in line. That's what's happening. We are dependent on both import, heavily dependent on imports. If we don't have any corresponding banking relations, how are we going to buy the energy for the oil, diesel we need for energy? Over the last couple of years, Denny, hundreds of millions of US dollars have come into our country as FDI. If we do a corresponding banking, how are they going to do it?
Exactly.
How Sanders going to invest?
There you go.
How Rainforest going to invest? How the money coming in? They bring it in suitcase?
Well, they get locked up for that because there are restrictions.
And so if your business can't order your products out of wherever you're ordering from, and you can't order your cars out of Japan and the motor, how the government getting taxes? The issue of the corresponding banking is so critical for our survival, as Denny pointed out.
Yep.
And up to today, it has still been dangled over the head of 20 years ago. It was a St. Vince problem. Today, it's a CARICOM problem. It's a CARICOM problem. And banks have to be strategic. Banks have to be strategic because they will lose that corresponding banking facility that would allow you to do business outside of the region. So maybe now there's a lot of banks left because they said it was just too expensive. The amount of things they wanted those international banks to do to have a relationship, it wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth it. And I remember when I was at the mission of St. Vincent to the United Nations between 2016 and 2017, that was one of the very important issues that was on the table. And you're hearing up to today, the discussion is still ongoing because it has not been resolved. Even recently, Mayor Motley was testifying before the Senate on that issue. Might ask, what does that have to do with reparations? What does that have to do with emancipation? Everything. Everything. Let me tell you something. Denny. Let's look at the schoolyard bully scenario. If a big strapping boy in Form 5, built like Elson, walk into the crowd and bump and mash. I found one boy look like Candyman. And Candyman said, "Man, they mash me." And nice. Elson watch him. Elson go suck it and walk away. And probably give a chuck and say, "Oh, you could do something about that." Why?
Size.
Because size. He doesn't see Candyman as an equal. He doesn't see Candyman. He doesn't respect Candyman as an equal because I'm bigger than you, I'm more strapping than you, and chances are I could beat you. But if that happens, boom, boom, you put upon somebody. And when you look around, it's somebody like your partner, Bourgeois, Fillmore Rodney.
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to do? You say, sorry. Because he respects that person as more of an equal. Our former colonizers don't respect us as equals. They don't see us as equals. And so they can do all of these things. They can deny slavery. They can deny the impact of slavery. They could suck their teeth on the issue of reparations. They could suck their teeth on the issue of climate justice. Because, Wallaby, what can you do? What can St. Vincent and the Grenadines do that would impact the US or the UK or France? What? But it's CARICOM with its 15 votes, and we have 5 associate members. So that's 20 away. It's a 20 vote block. If we have a one position in that 20 vote block, the EU is 27, no, we are 20. And Dr. Gonzal talks about the African diaspora, Africa, the Caribbean, and Brazil. So could you imagine the countries of Africa lining up with CARICOM when it comes to votes, voting in any particular way in the international system? Could you imagine that? You will see them all over the place, skeleton all over the place, trying to get support. Try to get support from us. But as it is now, they don't see us as equals. They see us as insignificant until they want a vote. This is as insignificant until there's some pressure for something in the UN system. Then they come knocking on we do and playing nice to us. But after that, done. So we have to maintain the consistency and say, no, when they want to engage us, they engage us as equals. And there are these outstanding issues. Reparations is one of them.
Let's take a pen, let's take a call. Good morning, you're live.
Good morning, Denny. Good morning, Sid. That conversation very interests me. And this is a conversation that needs to get on the ground to the masses. Because the world is going to a serious transition. And the Western wall, as Marcus Garvey said, well, I see blackboard at a picture of a cat. The white one we see.
Yes.
Marcus Garvey said when you see that, the time come for the table turn, for the wrong, put to right. And time and history is on our side. What we need to do is educate the masses, open up the airwave, and have mass education and discussion and social transformation. Because basically, the world going to talk. Look how America did. Look the kind of thing. Look what happening in England. So the sign is there. But we have to be aware, and we leaders have to know the only way out is arm the masses with information and knowledge and good leadership. Because the time is on our side. And drumming for social transformation, coming with things. Because we need everybody on board NDP, ULP, QQM, whatever it is, because this is a discussion to be had, especially the church. We grew up in a Western civilization country where they tell them we certain kind of behavior is not good. City destroy because of that. And they want we to change with that. They want we to dictate, they want to impose. People will, they will. According to them, they want we go against God will. You know, see, they are in the same direction as Sodom and Gomorrah. Now, my point, if people are in malpractice ways and they want to practice that privately, like how the right religion is people for people's social conscience and private practice, that is your business. But when you want to impose your will, your abnormal practice for normal people in society to make them laugh, you don't see Western democracy gone too far, and the time come for them slave picking away. I put out their mind straight and plain, them not the real Christian, you know. Google the social religion of Christianity. You will see they tell Ethiopia. I heard they tell you again now. The churches and them depleting is Africa, the Christian movement getting strong. And the anti-in, the abnormal practice. So see, on our radio, we have to talk loud and clear because this minority, people who now come out of the cave the other day causing to Malcolm X, want to continue to impose the will. But you see the war, they set up in Ukraine, pulling Russia, because a lot of things behind it. But that is a clear and plain. The hypocrisy of them people and contradiction that one full between them. Okay, my brother. You want more education and discussion and history and arming up the people and the role we have to play in defending and action for post-colonial construction. Okay, my brother.
All right, man. You know, there's a Pan-Africanist, Professor Lumumba. I know how to pronounce his name. I find that I'm watching a lot of his content recently. And he says he stopped using the word democracy, or he's using it less and less. He's using the word governance. Because the Western world colors the meaning of democracy depending on how it suits them. So he's talking about governance, and I like the approach that he uses. You know, and I'm talking about. I'm referring specifically to something that the last caller said when he talked about Western democracy. It's Western governance, really, because I ain't sure what they have is really democracy, and what they want to impose on individuals. You know, but he also mentioned the inclusiveness of the discussion and that the church should be involved. And that is interesting because, like he said, our church currently practices a Western version of Christianity. Correct. So how much of the practices of the church really upholds the message of the Western ideology? How much of what we practice now as religion is rooted in our African ancestry? Because it's only the Rastas that drum and chant. You may find some in the spiritual Baptist, but everybody else essentially have a westernized version of religion with a westernized concept of who God is and what Jesus Christ looks like. So for them to come in the discussion, would it be possible for them to come with an open mind to discuss religion and societal issues from a historical perspective. Some people may not like that comment there, but that's okay. That's okay. But this discussion has to be had. The discussion has to be had. Because it was I think it was Bob Marley who says, and even Ziggy Marley as well, talk about if you don't know your past, you won't know your future. You have to understand your history, where you come from, if you are to effectively chart a course for your future. And I think many of us have not paid much attention in any slightest way to history, and when discussions of reparation and so forth comes up, it's boring. It's boring. Dr. Gonzalez wrote the book, A Case for Reparative Justice. I read it a few days, riding the train when I was working at the mission. Interesting book. So interesting figures. When you calculate the value of what was stolen then today, it's serious money. There's a discussion, for example, that says one of the ways to start ain't necessarily about, let's say, giving you cash, but you could start, for example, with debt forgiveness. So all the money that we owe the World Bank and the IMF and so on, say, okay, because a lot of our countries are debt laden because you have to borrow money for development, and we shouldn't have to. If we were managed and quote unquote owned by major developed countries like Britain and France and Spain, why are we underdeveloped? How could they be so developed? And we so developed after how many years of slavery and colonization, as Dr. Gonzalez puts it? Britain left us with 2 schools after 200 years. 1 for each 100, 2. In the meantime, they had hundreds of universities. They didn't only have schools. They had universities too. So how come you didn't have the same energy for the colonies like you had for home? Anyhow, I think it's time for us to take a break, and when we come back, we start discussion. I'm trying to avoid Nerissa whole man in West Indies because the flukes a little thing yesterday, and Nerissa coming up my life with West Indies. Listen to me. Where were you for the last 3 1 days and the 2 tests? Oh, whichever test. Listen, I did the wine about West Indies this morning.
Pay the bills, please.
Pay the bills.
All right.
General Hardware still has the best prices on steel, lumber, and plywood. So go on, compare prices. And if by chance you find a better price, no stress. Just talk to the General, and they will beat that price plus give you special priority delivery. Yes, General Hardware offers free island-wide delivery on most purchases, so you never have to worry about getting your goods on site on time. Plus, shopping at General Hardware is a pleasant experience with friendly, knowledgeable staff always ready to serve. What more could you wish for, huh? So come to General Hardware for proper service, lowest prices, free delivery, and see why nobody beats the General. Nobody.
Dream house, renovating or updating, we supply high-quality engineered hardwood flooring, luxury vinyl planks, and a wide assortment of stylish trims. We also supply wall and floor tiles and tiling-related products. How about your staircase? We have railings, posts, pickets in metal, stainless steel, wood, and glass to make your staircase a centerpiece. We offer personalized selection and shipping service from Canada to SVG. Contact Marlon on WhatsApp at 289-200-7649 or District Stairs on Facebook.
As beautiful as they are, durable and strong, tested and proven to perform and protect. The Impact Aluminum heavy-duty window at Kendra's Aluminum Products brings quality, craftsmanship, contemporary styling, and a modern look to any home. This industry-leading design features sleek hardware and easy operation with safety locking systems on both panels. A window far more than functional and engineered to be both durable and elegant. From traditional to contemporary, our hardware comes in a variety of architectural styles and finishes to meet your aesthetic needs and design goals to ensure that you find the right fit. Visit our showroom today and ask about the Impact Aluminum heavy-duty window. Kendra's Aluminum Products exports to all islands in the Caribbean region. Call our export team today for assistance. Kendra's Aluminum Products Limited, a tradition.
Sandra, where you going in such a hurry?
Y'all, I have so much stuff I need to buy. I need to get to town fast. Plus, it's end of month.
But what you really need to buy, so?
Well, I need to look for a swimsuit for my pool party Sunday. I need to pick up my medication. And I need some nails to fix the door. And I have to get something to eat. Oh, yes. And I need to buy some grease and go back to get some money for all that.
Sandra, you can get all those things at the Joshua Center.
For true?
Yes, girl, everything.
The Joshua Center has everything for you, from clothes to decor, and even grab a drink and lunch too. It's all here, just for you.
Lotto jackpot? Well, there is an easy way. Combo Play. Choose 4 numbers from 1 to 36. That's a combo 4 at a cost of $64. Match any 4 of the 5 numbers and win the Lotto jackpot. There's Combo 6, where you purchase 6 numbers for only $12. Match any 5 of the 6 Lotto numbers and hit the jackpot. How about Combo 7? That's a purchase of 7 Lotto numbers for $42. Match any 5 of the 7 numbers and you will win the jackpot. There are also Combo 3, Combo 8, and Combo 9 Lotto plays. Visit the NLA headquarters in Pauls Avenue or WhatsApp 495-6886 for more details. Lotto, you have to be in it to win it.
Play for and win even more. National Lottery has more cash in store. 4 numbers from 0 to 9. In 5 grand with $1 in line. Play sport and back it up too. There'll be lots of cash waiting for you. Choose for Monday to Saturday. Go get your tickets, it's so easy to play. When you play for, you'll win even more.
Welcome back, and you're listening to 88.2 FM The Sound. We're talking about service excellence in the tourism industry. Let's take a caller.
Good morning. I'm Jackie, a front desk agent at Holiday Villa Hotel for the past 25 years.
25 years. Great. So, Jackie, tell us, what makes an excellent front desk agent?
I love my job. As a service provider, I'm always polite to customers. I'm very helpful and I smile a lot. You know, visitors as well as locals feel very welcome when you treat them with respect and concern for their welfare.
Very true. We all need to look at it that way.
Yes, you see, tourism is everyone's business. You've got to live it, love it, embrace it.
Tourism is for me. Tourism is for you. Tourism is everyone's business. Live it, love it.
That could have been you. An accident that could have been avoided because your tires had almost no grip on the road. Safety is a factor that should never be overlooked when it comes to your car or whatever you drive. SVG Tire Sales and Services in Pauls Avenue and in Arnisvale carries a wide selection of quality new tires to fit any car, truck, minibus, or SUV, so you can experience a comfortable and safe commute every time. We are agents for the world's most reliable brands on and off the road, including Kenda Tires, the King of the Mountain, Cooper Tires, King of the Road and Track, Ostone, the King of the Outback, and High Fly, the King of the Asian Highway. We also carry new tires for light or heavy-duty trucks from MRF, High Fly, and Linglong. A reliable set of new tires keep you, your passengers, and your payload always in the safe lane. So when you need quality tires with reliability at 100%, choose SVG Tire Sales and Services in Kingstown, 457-1467, or in Arnisvale, 456-6444. SVG Tire Sales and Services. Performance and reliability proven when the rubber meets the road.
Dr. Santiago Orthopedics and Traumatology Center in Capital City, Kingstown, specializing in bone, joints, ligaments, tendons, and muscle health. We offer PRP treatment, which supports wound healing in the joints, epidural treatment for lower back pain, hyaluronic acid treatment for knee pain, and much more. We also do minor surgeries and offer X-ray, physiotherapy, abdominal, joint, and pregnancy ultrasounds, cast and cast removal services. We are located at the junction of Level Gardens, opposite the Girls Guide headquarters. Our opening hours are Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. and on Saturdays, 8:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. We also do home visits, and our services are also extended to the Grenadines in Beckway every Saturday at Dr. Lugo's Clinic. Visit, call, or WhatsApp 530-7866 for Dr. Santiago Orthopedics and Traumatology Center, where preventing disease, relieving suffering, and healing the sick is our priority.
Out with the old, in with the new. In the past, you complained when we failed. We listened and went back to the drawing board. At last, a new, fresh beginning. A fresh face, a new product. International Standard Metals A792 presents Galvalume, an aluminum roofing metal, branded best used for roofing material, tested and proven to be of superior quality. Get wider coverage for the best prices on the island. We offer a variety of colors, including zinc sheets. Also, take advantage of our unique roofing patterns, U-panel, industrial, and crimp Spanish style. Visit us at the Diamond Industrial Estate. Call us at 784-456-9900 or email bmlsvg@gmail.com. Galvalume, a product of International Standard Metals. At the People's Pharmacy, we put our mission at the center of our name. We are people-centered, and every day we renew this commitment to providing products and services that help our valued customers lead healthier and happy lives. The People's Pharmacy fills prescriptions promptly and accurately, and also offers a wide range of vitamins and supplements, plus generic medication for everything from an upset stomach to the common cold. We offer toiletries and baby care items, skin care and hair care items too. All that coupled with a friendly, knowledgeable, and efficient staff to ensure customer satisfaction every time you shop. The People's Pharmacy offers extended opening hours, 8 in the morning to 8 p.m., Mondays through Saturdays. For more information, give us a call at 456-1170. The People's Pharmacy. We go further to serve you better.
Here, SVG's newest beauty store, The Beauty Shack. There you will find a wide range of items for ladies, from human and synthetic braids and weaves to half wigs, bras, panties, costume jewelry, handbags, purses, and a whole lot more. The Beauty Shack, guys, you're not left out, as there's a variety of colognes and gift sets to choose from. At The Beauty Shack, located on James Street in the same building that houses Eat Right Restaurant. Opening hours 7:30 a.m. until. Visit us or call 485-6681 for The Beauty Shack to make your true fashion statements.
Oi, stop what you're doing. I want to tell you about Automarine Coatings. In Villa, right on the main, you have a car, you have a boat, and you want them look nice. Now with the Automotive, they are the official distributors of the Max Meyer car refinishing brand. It includes car automotive paints, clear coat reducers, hardeners, body filler, compressor fittings, automotive body oils, you have coolants, you have degreasers. So run down and check them out now. You're getting a 10% discount on all automotive paints. You have a boat, bottom protectant primer, barrier shield primer. They also carry the anti-fouling paint, fiberglass resin, fiberglass matting. They have stainless steel bolts and screws, 2-cycle and 4-cycle marine oil, anchor chains, buoys and fenders. They have everything you could think about for your boats and for your car. So run down and check them out now. They're located in Villa, right on the main. Auto Marine Coatings. When they reach down there, check Bruce, check Michael, and they're gonna work with you. At 10% discount, it's waiting on you. Let me go down there now. Auto Marine Coatings in Villa.
Survive the hardship we're in it. Life never sweet like a chocolate vanilla. Chain line my bond in a With your little monkey, watch how you attack the gorilla car. The government buy arms with the killer. Two party and flex like a party. Them in accepting presents from foreign government, but still a fool them on a school them and cocky them. Good God of Moses and Bradley the killer. Poor people fed up and we can't sing simmer. Can hardly survive as a blasted singer, much less a baller who is a brought to the winner. Have a right foot like a David Villa. His mother still a selling a market. The jam rock is a precious stone. See this far from a diamond. Take it from Iman. Go Jamaica die. We gotta live to save the life. After the sunset comes the darkness of the night. Better open up your eyes. You need to read between the lines. Living in the ghetto paradise. Jamaica spiritually irie, pretty and nice. Still I get a paradise, I'm in a apologize. The slippery and the slidey, the government a lie. Them trickery and them buy with the chicken and the fries. Then a little lie that, you give the lion smile. But even if you try, you couldn't live somewhere with life. No river can a bone and lick up in them and ride it to the battle. Them and fight it up on the riverside. And then you talk out Jamaica sweet. What sweet can we rotten your teeth? I in the sheets it not nice and easy. Shut a beat that the youth can't sleep. And then you talk out Jamaica night. You say you're living in a paradise. But what they whistle like a Christmas breeze. Then you better take a foolish advice.
Here is a story told to the children of Africa.
We love the children of Africa. Teaching the children. La da da da. La da da da. Boy, black eye, black hair, black skin, black queen, stand majestic with the black king. Today I'll sing you a black song. You need to hear about beautiful black things. Cause most time we hear about black, we hear about black magic and black witches. Blacklist, black book, black market, black Friday, you spend off your black riches. I've never seen a doctor in black, nor seen a black pill to cure no black people. But I've seen bush doctors like Cash and Molly resurrect like a real black people. Malcolm, Marcus, Martin. When you see Walter Rodney asking, oh you know hear about how well laughing. So when the little offspring asking, tell them they never told us that black is beautiful. They never told us black is beautiful. They never told us that black is beautiful. They never told.
Never ever was it said to us, right?
Beautiful.
That's the Chronics.
They have no interest in telling us that.
None at all.
Yeah, man. Because that's why they have blacklists, as you say, and blacklist and black that. You understand? Yeah. So it's all right. No problem. Yes. Val, good idea. Let me reply to Val and say, excellent idea, Val. I'll get that done. Val, so when you go on the break, instead of
Big white soap.
yeah, we could. I have an idea immediately. So thank you very much for that, Val. All right. Morning again. So yes, it seems that Nerissa and Ev come out for me this morning go by I1 Floxy win. That's all right. I don't know if Ev remember that word, but Nerissa should have a very good memory of it.
Just remind them.
Yeah, Floxy win.
The one win we had.
The one Floxy
And
win.
they won the series
The one
right
Floxy
after.
win. The one Floxy win.
We got thumped.
I'm Marlin. I'm Marlin. So the Floxy win that we had yesterday, and I'm still saying because I support West Indies too, you know. Just like I support Chelsea we get thumped off last year. I definitely support them. It's just that the one name I get 4-1 is all right, no problem. No problem at all. And by the way, Danny, you following this whole thing?
Grenada St.
Yeah, Grenada St. Vincent.
Much ado about
It's
nothing.
funny. I'm seeing some memes and I'm seeing things like one thing on Facebook. They have 2 fans from St. Vincent, 2 fans from Grenada. The fans in Grenada kind of old as well. That dapper. You have one with 3 guys on a limb. Vinci, Grenada. Listen, it is. So the thing is, so Spielberg, and by the way, right?
Headways.
By the way, Spielberg, I remember him as Gabri, right? He's from Clay Valley. And if you remember, Denny, when I used to be on school before, I would always talk about Dolph.
Yes.
Right. So Dolph is Gabri grandfather. He's dead. Well, was because he died. He died. So I'm a little boy going school, primary school, and so on, and he has blossomed into quite a producer. So everybody's talking about his headways, and Atma later mentioned like, Uncle Sian, Gabri, are you named Spielberg on Headways? I said, really? So I listened to Headways, and the song really took off.
It's huge across the region.
It's just took off.
Yeah.
So apparently Lava Man, in the same way Talpri did a remix of Fireman's Take Up Something, Anything and Run With It, decided to do something with the song. Now, we don't know what arrangements he has with Spielberg, if any. I don't know, so I can't comment. But our Vinces are upset that apparently whenever references in Grenada are made about the song Headways, no reference is made.
It's a remix. It's
reference
it's a genuine remix
of Spielberg. Listen, I just hope Spielberg collecting chiching. That's all. Once he's benefiting from the success of the song, I go. That's all. But it bad. The remix bad. I mean, the thing about Talpri and even Lava Man and Talpri, they have a voice. The voice, I think, does a lot in terms of the music. The deep husky voice. I like the voice. You know what I mean? And the song doing well. So if
I think it's a Grenadian thing, because it doesn't just stay with those two. But what's his name?
Skinny Bantan, that's his name.
Bantan and the one who won Soca Monarch in Trinidad. Who did the song with Skinny this year?
I know you mean. And we know what we do. Killer. Right. You're right. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. So look, I mean, we know there's no question about Vincy music. None. We dominate the region in terms of music, whether it's through our writing, the writing of James P. and Skinny Fabulous and Problem Child, or just the fact that with music. Look, remember 2 years ago, what was the big tune? What's the name of the song? Then again, it didn't do much during the carnival, but it was running. Oh my lord, the one that all them school children were singing, the man. Oh my lord! About 2 years ago, it was used during the Grenada carnival elections.
Oh yeah. Government thing. What's his name from Lago Heights? Yeah. I know the song. We know the song.
Yeah, you know what I mean. This song was big. So we know that
Mad Government or something like that.
Yeah, that's the name of the song, Mad Government. But exactly how the song go is a whole other story. But we know that in terms of our music and our creativity, we're unrivaled.
Yeah.
We're unrivaled.
We have a call. Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
I'm going back to World Affairs, if you all don't mind.
Sure, go right ahead.
I picked up something on my own. I maybe have been mistaken, but I listened, and I don't think I am. That meeting, CELAC, that was held in Brussels, it was never once mentioned on BBC, Al Jazeera, or CNN. Never once did they ever mention that this meeting was going on. And another thing that came across to me, even when this was discussed in the Caribbean last week or so, nobody, what was the other thing I noticed, sorry, before they even sat down to that meeting at Brussels, before the Caribbean and all of the Caribbean leaders were around this table, according from what I was hearing, before they could even say anything, Europe opened its mouth and told them, and they talk before they could even say anything to talk about reparation. Those European countries opened their mouth and said, "You issue passports, see what we can do with it."
Exactly.
That is the impression I got from that meeting. I may be wrong, but that is what I believe. And Mr. Denny, there's another thing that is sticking in my mind. We do not have a national bank in St. Vincent.
Exactly.
So where are we going to go when
There's
we
not an
don't have
international bank presence, yeah.
Well, in all fairness, that I think that is part of the creativity of our local banks in buying the international bank so that they can pull out.
But if they don't have one as far as I know in Barbados side, they look at them closed down. All those banks.
No, they bought.
They're jamming us into a corner. That is what I'm
The
looking
indigenous
at.
banks have,
The indigenous banks are buying share, buying interest in the international bank to ensure that the presence stays.
Yeah.
So that's why
the point. Yeah.
that is why, for example, Republic Bank, which was once Scotiabank, at least we still have that relationship with Scotiabank in Canada, and we still have that CIBC connection through FCIB, which is now bought out by BUSVG.
Right.
So at least that is the way we have to be creative with it, by ensuring that before these guys decide, look, these markets are small and saturated and we're pulling out, like buy some interest in the bank to make sure the presence is here.
But that's such a meager connection. And then I realized that they had closed down all the banks in Barbados too.
Well,
Barbados has some connection with CIBC.
Here's why I wouldn't say it's meager.
Not no big connection.
Here's why I would say it is big and not meager. Here's why, and you may disagree with me, but because now we own it. We own it, as opposed to now it being here as a presence where they could leave whenever they want to. We now own that, so it's that we own a stake in Scotiabank. The region now owns a stake in Scotiabank Canada, and we now own a stake in CIBC Canada. We own that stake, and so I wouldn't say it's meager at all. I think it's significant.
I mean, I'm glad they have some, but to me, it's just it's just such a small, slender little thread. Anyhow, I worry about these things for the last couple of weeks, and I just decided to say them this morning.
Well, like yourself, like Danny, for example. I know you also have your history in banking, so I understand where that would come from.
All right then.
All right, take care. All right.
I understand the whole question about the physical presence, but your point rings true, and it's a very, very, a big point. The fact that our indigenous banks are now become more or less stakeholders in these international conglomerates, so to speak. And very importantly, we don't have a situation, or we're not faced with a situation where you cream off what is happening here in the region, and everything just in terms of profits and everything like that, just moves out to the region. The indigenous banks now ensuring that remains here for the further development of these islands, and that's very important, very, very critical.
And so now, I don't know exactly what the specific purchase arrangement really is, but when you buy a stake into international conglomerate, international bank, it means there are big profits they're making against some of that too, possibly. You know what I mean? No, but the thing is, the indigenous banks continue to be profitable, whether it's BUSVG or what, or regional banks are doing well.
And it has also provided the breathing space for the credit unions,
right?
In a significant way. Look at what happens
really grown,
to GECU and Teachers Credit Union and KCCU. They've blossomed over the years. The asset base has just multiplied significantly, right? And it augurs well, for the whole matter of the financial system in these, first and foremost here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines and across the region, right?
I think, Denny, the idea of the indigenous banks in the region, I think the time has come for us to look at having a single entity.
One single entity.
Yes. We talk about integration, and I'm talking. Okay, now when I say
locally, or you're talking across the region?
When I say the region, I mean the OECS, right? So let's say, I know, for example, I can't remember the name of the company, but they had bought out the control interest in Bank of St. Lucia, right?
ECFH,
something like that, right? But at least you have Bank of St. Lucia, you have
Holdings, sorry,
Bank of St. Vincent, right. You have Dominican National Bank. So I'm talking about those indigenous banks,
okay,
becoming, the OECS National Bank or something like that. You know what I mean? Heck, we have one currency. There's not much. We are regulated by the ECCB.
Exactly.
I mean, we had the currency union, we had the ECCB and so forth. It shouldn't be that difficult. You know what I mean?
It shouldn't be.
And so imagine the customer and asset base of such a bank. And so now we become a bank in the region that can now look outside and say, look, we have X billion dollars in assets and we have X amount of customers. Let's talk.
Fair enough.
Let's talk.
Fair enough. I see where you're heading with that. More so from a regional standpoint.
Yeah.
It's going to give us some muscle, so to speak.
Absolutely.
Well, regionally and have persons or have companies listen to us more or less on the international stage.
Gives us power.
Yeah.
Gives us power. And that's
your scenario again with the big and small.
What people don't understand.
Pops immediately into my mind.
You know, America could well be 48 countries in the same way that Europe, because it's a federal system. Each state in the US has its own constitution. Each state in the US has its own governor. And that's why the federal government, the president say, listen, you don't have jurisdiction to do X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
So the states in the US recognize that, listen, there's strength in unity. EU recognize there's strength in unity. Only the Africans and their descendants they realize that yet now. Sorry to say.
But going back to your point there, and that's a very significant point in terms of we have a OECS financial institution, more or less rising, because we're now faced with this scenario here, and it's something that I discussed when you were out. Recently, of course, our finance minister have taken over as chairman of the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union. And one of the first things that he have highlighted is that within the coming year, the forecast is for a reduction in terms of the growth within the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union. And primarily, we know what is happening with the whole matter of the citizenship by investment program. For a number of these countries, their revenue slowly being dried up. There's a situation where the UK has taken off the gloves and now having economic warfare. Dominique is now being faced with it, and of course other islands by the end of the year will certainly have to conform to the legislation put in place by the UK. And it means that this high dependency on the selling of the passports, with the drying up of the revenue, it is going to have an effect on the whole matter of economic activity. Whilst here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we've not sold a single passport. We've been quite creative in the way in which we have gone about managing our economy. And the whole matter, we spoke about it, the investment portfolio. We are now certainly seeing a situation where there's a significant uptick with the investors coming here, Sandals, Royal Mills, down in Peters Hope, and there's other things in the mix, of course, governmental in terms of the port, hospital to come, Marriott and that kind of stuff. So we hear our economy in terms of growth of GDP, we're seeing that uptick. But within the currency union now, there are those islands who, as I stated, highly dependent on the CBI, selling of passports. And the fact that that is being dried up is now having an effect on the overall economic viability of the union. It's something that, although we are forecast to do well within the union itself, we have to certainly keep a very keen eye on, because ultimately we all share the same currency, which is the Eastern Caribbean dollar. And Richard, as a matter of fact, I have to thank him for it. He said to us that within the last 40 years, the EC dollar has been the strongest currency, all right, not just within the region, but globally, all right, pegged to the US dollar at 2.67 thereabout. And that has not changed for the last 40 plus years, but it means significant fluctuations. Jamaica, Trinidad, Guyana,
let's talk the euro, the pound.
I was just going there also.
No, them developing. Them poor countries. Them not big countries. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The euro, which has to do with some of the G7, the G20 economies, Germany, France.
You name it.
Yeah. Listen, so we've seen the fluctuation and we've not had that.
Currency's been like dancing on 9 pins, for
Well,
a lot of those
yeah.
countries.
Here's the difference, and sometimes we need to listen to the man. We need to pay attention. Now, I got a video from what's his name, Agustin the other day, and I should probably clean it up so we could show it on the program next week, because the difference is we don't sell passports, but there is a citizen by investment program in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And Dr. Gonzalez has made that clear. Individuals come and they establish that link with St. Vincent and the Grenadines. They come here, they invest. And the different processes. You come, you buy a land holding license and so on and so on. Once you fulfill certain criteria, you can then make an application for citizenship based on having established a citizen relationship with St. Vincent and the Grenadines through your investments. You can then go through that process after, I think, 5 years or whatever it is of residency.
7 years, I believe.
Right? And you can, upon approval, become a citizen of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The other countries do it the other way around. They sell you a passport with the hope that you'd make some investments. Or the investment can be just deposits of $200,000 into this fund or that fund. So there is really no establishment of the concept of citizen with the country. Some of them have never even set foot.
That's the point.
In the country. So no link whatsoever. Right? And so the video that I got was making the point that in St. Kitts and Nevis, for example, a number of stalled projects are the result, because here you come, you sell some passport to some Chinese and so forth, and the hope is that they could do something, and they start something, and then
boom,
it ain't finished, but they got with their passport.
Yep.
Now, let's look, for example, at a project that has had some challenges, but it's ongoing, and I have to visit that project, the Black Sands project,
Peter's Hope.
At Peter's Hope. If the idea, for example, was, let me sell you a passport and hopefully you do something in Peter's Hope, then if things didn't work out, and they go about the business. But those guys have invested already, and they're not Vincentians. None of them is a Vincentian. Right? And so what we now have is this project continuing. It is continuing, and I have good information on where the project is and where it's going. And at the end of it, if the gentleman, after 7 years or whatever, after making the establishment and the thing working and so forth, and they want to apply, they can apply. Adam Stewart can apply as chairman of the Sandals Group, if he wants to, pending his residency situation and so on. Because we ain't selling the passport. We are saying to you, whether you come and you marry a Vincentian, or you come here on a work permit and so on, and you build your house and so forth, having established a relationship with this country through investment, through marriage, there is a process for you to be able to make an application to become a citizen of this country. And if you follow that, once approved, you can become a citizen. That's how we do things in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. That's when we talk about a program that we could offer citizenship by investment, which is something that has been on the books for a long time. That is what we're talking about. We're not talking about, and that is why, for example, Dr. Gonzalez is very deliberate when he talks about selling passports. The NDP tries to be cuffle and whatever you want to be. Kerfuffle you and that kind of thing by talking about citizenship by investment. The NDP is not interested in citizenship by investment. They are interested in selling passports. Look, understand this. In the CBI territories, we're closing up just now, but I haven't met the point so you could understand. In the CBI territories, the money is made from the passport sale. You understand me? What the NDP wants to do is sell a passport for $100,000. So the money is made from the sale of the passport itself. What happens in this country is that the investment is made in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and you go through the regular process that any ordinary person would do. So my uncle, for example, Louis, with his fantastic Jamaican wife, the money that she's paying for the application for citizenship is the same money that Sandals, that Rainforest, that anybody of those investors would pay. Now, $100,000. The benefits, the way we do it, the benefits are coming through the investment made in St. Vincent and the Grenadines through the establishment of that relationship. So why Sandals investment? $200 million US. But that is done at Bukoma.
Half a billion EC.
That is done at Bukoma. Are them and those guys who doing Love You and Royal Mill? How much? 100 million, whatever? That is done in the project itself. And if at any time, after fulfilling the criteria for citizenship, they decide, you know what? I mean, Adam, Lord, Stuart just buried his wife. Sad moment for him. And let's say he comes to St. Vincent again and he finds a beautiful Vincentian woman. And he said, boy, this woman is it, boy. And he gets married to her. He could then apply to become a citizen. But Adam Stewart ain't going to pay $100,000 US for the passport. He's going to pay the regular price for the application process. And once approved, he go to immigration and he pay the same price like me and you for Vinci passport.
Simple.
We focus on the investment relationship with St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The others sell the passport. And so that is why our Prime Minister, our PM, makes the point that the NDP wants to sell passports.
And very importantly, the benefits are there for the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, as we see unfolding before our very eyes on the investment being made by Sandals. There are hundreds of persons right now, Vincentians, who are directly employed in the construction of that facility. And we have close to about 200 persons scattered across the region who are now going through the requisite training. Right? They are going to return to train others here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines when the facility becomes operational. And of course, hundreds of jobs being created. Our taxi providers, our tour guides, people in the fishery industry, our farmers, the list goes on and on and on and on, are going to benefit tremendously from this one single investment. Where, as you correctly pointed out, we didn't have to sell the birthright to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We didn't have to put a high price on our passport. But after the requisite time, yes, the Sandals, Adam Stewart, that's his name?
Yes.
He can go through the process.
He comes to live. Yeah. So Peter Horn, I don't know, is asking how many years you got to be here to get a CBI passport. Well, Peter, we don't have CBI passports.
We don't have that.
Right? Let me say that straight up again. And let me explain it for you. I know if you just logged on, but St. Kitts, Dominica, Antigua, someone can stay outside of that country and apply without having touch foot on to any of those countries. Their application will be processed. They say they do due diligence checks and so forth, and they may have to contribute to $100,000 to a fund or whatever, or they just pay for the passport. St. Vincent and the Grenadines doesn't engage in any of that. An individual can come to St. Vincent, a non-Vincentian, and that person can establish a relationship with the country. They could come here on a work permit. work for a while, they're getting the work permit renewed. Over time, they get married. That person can apply for citizenship. The person could come buy land through the alien landholding license, as any of the investors would have to do the investment. And I think Dennis said 7 years, after 7 years of residence in the country, because he'll come on a temporary residence. You'll be a temporary resident. You have your land, you buy your land, you're here, and after 7 years, you can apply for citizen. Now, this is the case whether your land is a house or a hotel. So if your investment in land is a plot of land in Barley or in Vermont, because you walk in here, you live here for 5-6 years already, you save your money, you buy your land, and so on, you build your house, you apply for citizenship. It's a hotel. You come, you build your hotel, you're here, you live here, you're managing your hotel, you're running your hotel on the board. After living here for a certain number of years, as outlined by the law, you can apply for citizenship once you fulfill the criteria. As I said, the difference is that you're not going to be paying $100,000 for the passport and $50,000 if you have children. Once that is approved, the process of application for citizenship has a cost. I can't remember how much it is, but again, that's in the law. But let's say the cost of the application process for citizenship is $3,000. The person who come in a work permit, the person at a hotel, whoever, that's the cost for any of them. No difference in the cost. And once there is an approval of that, you then take your citizenship certificate and they're going to apply for your passport, and they pay the same $200 that Vincentians pay, because you're now a Vincentian by naturalization. So essentially, someone who invests in St. Vincent and the Grenadines can become a citizen by naturalization, not by buying a passport, because we don't sell passport for $100,000 and for $75,000 like some other countries do, so that they could say, oh, the CBI program brought in $100 million last year. That's from the actual sale. Passport in hand, money come back. We don't do that. All right, Peter Horn, I hope that explains it to you. And you're better informed now as to what happens in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Come to the program, Denny.
Yeah, this is where we wrap it up. All right.
9:10. Lady Giselle Chance, I believe, should be coming in now to take you up to 2 o'clock. Don't forget at 10 o'clock, we have the Shake Up program. But with that, we want to wish everybody a fantastic weekend. Yeah. By the way, tomorrow night.
Top of the weekend, Ras Ralph.
Yeah.
Up in the studio.
Yeah, tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't send out the warning and the challenge to Blink to tell Blink, listen to me, boss, man. Make sure you dig deep down in the crate. Because tomorrow, listen, Blink think he's a reggae aficionado, but Blink a joke compared to Ras Ralph. So tomorrow night on the biggest reggae program in the country with DJ Bling, you understand? Don't forget that Ras Ralph joins DJ Bling tomorrow on a special edition of Reggae Stars. And Ras Ralph is going to be selector tomorrow.
Selector.
Yeah. So tomorrow, Bling going to be in school. Yeah. Tomorrow night, Bling is going to be in school.
I hope you can find some of the music.
Listen, that's what I'm telling you. I said, boss. I said, boss, make sure you dig down in the crate now. Dig down deep in the crate, because, boy, and if you can make it tomorrow, and it will look bad for see, Comrade Company show and make it look bad.
I'm gonna leave and drive for him. As a backup.
Yeah, because I mean, you know, Morning Scoop is the real
exactly
when it comes to all the goldies and selection. So let him.
Yeah, we're gonna let him drive tomorrow.
You know, because I don't. Next thing, he can't come to next week again start because Comrade just but so that's tomorrow night. Right? Don't forget, it's an exciting edition of the Reggae Stars tomorrow with DJ Bling. Special guest, Dr. Gonzalez.
All right, so this is where we wrap it up. Have yourself a good one. Continue to keep it locked in here on a Friday morning. See you, of course, on Monday. On Friday, August 4th, there'll be thousands of dollars to be won. A lotto jackpot of $155,000. A new home